Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 1, 2, 26. I don't know which verse it is. Can see.
26.
Done on it on the door.
1, 2, 26.
Here it was.
This one.
These two.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service, verse 26. Mumukshavo Gora Rupan Vidva Bhuta Patin Ata Narayana Kalaha Santaha Bhajanti Anushuyavaham Mumukshavo Gora Rupam Mumukshavo Gora Rupam Idva Bhuta Patinata Idva Bhuta Patinata Narayan Kala Santa Narayana Kala Santa Bhajanti Hanusuyava Bhajanti Anusuyava Mumukshavo Gora Rupam Idva Bhuta Patinata Narayana Kala Santa Bhajanti Anusuyava
Mumuksha Gora Rupan Idva Bhuta Patinata Narayana Kala Santa Bhajanti Anasuyava
Mumukshavo Gora Rupam Idva Bhuta Patinata Narayan Kala Shanta Bhajanti Anusuyava
Touchy? Easy? No? Mumukshava. Person desiring liberation.
Person desiring liberation.
Gora. Horrible, ghastly.
Horrible ghastly.
Rupan. Form like that.
Form like that.
Idva. Rejecting. Bhutapatin. Demigods.
The demigods.
Ata. For this reason. Narayana. The personality of Godhead.
The personality of Godhead.
Kalaha. Plenary portions.
The plenary portions.
Santaha. All blissful. Bhajanti. Do worship. He certainly. Anusuyavaha. Non-envious. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself into different categories, namely integrated plenary portion and separated parts and parcels. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portion of Vishnu Tattva are the worshipful object of service. All demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings, equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead. And they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattva. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattva or the plenary portion of Narayan, the personality of Godhead, in the same categories with the parts and parcels. If anyone does so, he becomes at once an offender by the name Paschandi. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offences and equalize the two categories. The separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them are like Kalave Bhairava, Smasana Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, and Chandika. These demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lower categories of the modes of darkness or ignorance. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh, and many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged on by the desire for material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness or sattva goodness of material nature worship only Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by various names and forms such as Narayan, Damodar, Vamana, Govinda, and Adoksaja. The qualified Brahmanas worship the Vishnu Tattvas represented by the Sharagam Shila, and some of the higher castes like the Kshatriya and Vaishya also generally worship the Vishnu Tattva. Highly qualified Brahmanas situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. They have all respect for the demigods, even though they may look ghastly like Kaila Bhairava or Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord, under different conditions. Yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods, and they concentrate only on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakashipu underwent several types of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity, Brahma, could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu, and no one else, is called Muktipada, or the personality of Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti or liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of the annihilation of the material structure. They are themselves unable to get liberation, what to speak of giving liberation to their devotees. The demigod can award worshippers only some temporary benefit, are not the ultimate one, ultimate benefit. It is for this reason only that candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no disrespect for any one of them. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutan Le Svaya Rupa Kadamatyam Narati Swaparantikam. He Krishna Karina Sindhu Dina Bantu Jagat Pate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriyam Anchakarpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Yaiva Chapatitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation again. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. So here Shukadev Goswami is explaining indirectly the different categories of worshipper, the different qualities of religions and system of dedicated at the elevation of the consciousness of humankind. So there are different systems, different type of worship, different religions, and here it is explained in detail by Srila Prabhupada in his purport, and in a nutshell in the verse itself. So the verse itself explains that those who are interested in liberation worship Vishnu Tattva, or Lord Vishnu, or Lord Krishna, or Lord Narayan, or Nishingadev, or etc. These are all different emanations of the same entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So people sometimes think that because some portion of the scripture explains that from Vishnu emanate all kind of avatar. But Krishna is also depicted as avatari and is the source of the different Vishnu. The different Vishnu also. So the Vedic literature is quite difficult to understand. So many gods, so many demigods, so many incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Vedic scripture and here the Srimad Bhagavatam is a condensed of those scriptures, the cream of the Vedic literature, explain all those who want liberation and to get rid of disease, old age, birth and death. This is the term liberation. There's so many interpretations of liberation nowadays. But really, liberation according to the Vedic tenets is liberation from material body. Not to come back again in this material world. To definitely find a shelter and a service and a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual environment, with spiritual people, with a spiritual form, all devotees dedicated with their mind focused on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whilst here, the mind being focused in so many temporary targets in life. What we put in priority in our life will be our future destination. Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember this verse, where the person attains the body according to the state of mind he developed at the time of death. In other words, the mind, and especially the things that interests us the most in our life, is become crystallized through the mind in a future body. So it's like a caterpillar. It's explained in some literature that the mind is like a caterpillar. It kicks one body to go to another one, and there is a junction in between the two. So the mind makes the junction in between the body we live and the body we will attain in a subtle way. The mind contains the desire, but the inner desires, what are really in the core of the heart. So sometimes we practice a religion, but the core of the heart is not there. Be it Christian, Jew, devotees of Krishna also. The core is not there. Then the destination will not be devotional service to the Lord. It will be some service somewhere else with some entity, but the person will have to wait for some time for his desire to be purified. So the quality of the desire that we nurture in the core of the heart is that what will determine our future destination. And this inner desire, while we are engaged in this body, can be developed and becoming more focused by the kind of worship or adoration we focus and give priority in our life. Very simple to understand. It's not magical, it's just subtle mechanic, subtle psychological, mental mechanic. You do this, you get this result. So here it is explained that if you are interested in not staying in this world and attaining the eternal realm of Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, then you worship Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu. If you are interested in worshipping demigods, then Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport that at the time of annihilation, because material energy is created, maintained, and dissolved like a heart. This way. So we are in the middle of the creation that has been created. And if we want to get rid of this, transcend the time and space, then we have to worship Supreme Personality of God. So those who are worshippers of the demigods, who are themselves destroyed regularly in the material world, because there is different creation, different annihilation also in this regular cycle. There is small cycles, small and smaller ones. So the demigods are destroyed, and also their boons are destroyed. And the person who benefit of this boon are only getting some benefit, but temporary benefit. So yes, if you worship demigods, or if you worship Macron, or if you worship some big prefect or big personality in the material world, you will get some result. But those results will be temporary. And if you are intelligent, you will see that after you receive this benefit, you are at the same stage. You just took some vacation, like you use your CB, you go to Hawaii or Tunisia or some country, you spend your money, then you come back, you have the same level of activities. So that's why here Srila Prabhupada explains that there is those who are really serious about spiritual life, they should not be bewildered by who to worship. What is the ultimate target? What are the means? And who will give, what is the representative? Who are those who practice or who teach? Or do they have some past this disciplic succession still living? This we have to know. So here the verse explains that these forms that are worshipped by those in ignorance, they worship different devatas. So Srila Prabhupada makes a different graduation in different demigods. Different worships of demigods give different results. So those, in a nutshell, those who are influenced by ignorance, they worship generally Shiva or Mahakali or Giri. These are all different names for the consort of Lord Shiva. And she assumes a ghastly form because with arms, many weapons. On a lion, not so cool. And the food they give to them is not so nice also for the devotees. The offerings are generally goats, animals, or things like that. So through the Vedic scripture, we see that there is different kind of worship according to the qualities the worshipper are soaked in. If they are soaked in ignorance, they will have a tendency to worship Giri, or the goddess of consort of Lord Shiva, or they will worship Brahmana. And worshippers of ghosts are in these categories also. Goblins, Pisacha, so many black magic. People are in between the gross material atmosphere and the subtle atmosphere where are living the demigods. Demigod of the sun, of the moon, of the different planets. Those demigods are for those who worship in the mode of passion. Those in the mode of passion, they have a tendency to have some benefit quickly. So they worship the demigods, who are the upper demigods, in order to have some boons for getting good health, riches, good progeny, good money, good everything. So those are the worshippers that generally people are interested in. So our society is built in such a way as to do that in an artificial way without any worship. So the result is that it is in ignorance. So you will not get the boons given by the devatas who are in the mode of goodness. You will have a mix of everything. You don't know what you will get. On top of it, if you commit a lot of sinful activities, the result will not be so good. So when we speak of horrible feature, we speak of Mahakali. We have a garland not of flower, but a garland of skulls or bones, things like that. And she has a lot of weapons. Krishna doesn't have weapons. He has a flute. because he is for devotees who are not interested in the strength and all-powerful Supreme Personality of God. This aspect of the Lord doesn't interest Krishna's devotees. Devotees are interested by a life serving dedicated to Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, in an environment like here, but not with the problem of weeds and things decaying and always fighting to maintain things here and there. In the material, in the spiritual world, everything is maintaining automatically by the spiritual energy over there. So time doesn't have any decaying effect, and as a result there is no death, there is no disease, there is no old age, and there is no rust, and there is no dust, although people are brushing and cleaning everything, but it's not like here. So in the spiritual world there is no this degradation of the three gunas and degradation meant by the time. In the upper planetary system, it is clean. There is not that much old age and disease. Or if there is disease, it is cured easily. But there is a kind of birth and there is a kind of death. So it means a liberation of the heavenly planets is temporary, like vacation here. Although they live much more time than we live. They live in the moon. It is given this example that they live 10,000 years. It's a long, long, long way from what we live. So that's why it is important to know and to distinguish what is this influence of the three gunas: ignorance, passion, and goodness, and how we can supersede or going above them. Triguna Vishaya Guna, Nishtriguna Bhavanchuna. Krishna explained to Arjuna, he says, go ahead on top of these three gunas, which are the main topic described in the Vedic scriptures. So, in order to start spiritual life, we have to understand all the different religions and different food, different environment, sound, quality of sound, all the different qualities of the sense object are tinted or influenced by the three gunas: passion, ignorance, and goodness. So, it is important for the devotee to be situated in the mode of goodness mainly, in order to be able to transcend and go on this platform of Brahmabhuta. So how do we reach this Brahmabhuta platform? Not so easy. I was reading a post recently of a devotee who was the night before Prabhupada disappeared. And he was explaining this Brahmabhuta. The devotee was sorry that Prabhupada was in a painful situation because of the body decaying. But he said, no, it's not a problem. When you are in the platform of Brahmabhuta, you have the Lord in the heart, and you enjoy this, and you are detached from the body. In another section of the Vedic scripture, it is described at the liberated stage. The coconut is dried, and you have your shell, which is the body, and inside the free coconut itself, which is the heart, the core of the heart. So in a liberated stage, The core of the heart is detached from the shell. So Prabhupada is saying, I am this Brahmabhuta person. I may be, the body may be suffering, but inside, because of the connection of Krishna, there is pleasure. So we can't evidently, difficultly imagine this kind of mentality. All the mind is focused on Krishna, on the heart, and then the body becomes like a dry coconut externally. Someone else was giving a nice explanation. When you are in a conditioned state, you are like a driver in a taxi. In the best case, the driver in the taxi, and Krishna is in the back and is driving you. He's saying you do this, you do that, you know. So you think you are the driver, and you hear. In the liberated stage, there's a swap. You are in the taxi, and Krishna is driving. You understand? It's difficult to apprehend how the state of mind is different. You hear constantly from Krishna and you do what? You are in the taxi, you are the passenger, and Krishna is driving. And in the conditioned state, it is opposite. You think it is opposite. In reality, you are always driven by Krishna. But you think you are driving. So the impression is like in a video game. You do the things, and you are the master, you are the doer. Although everything is arranged by material nature, events, person, situation, God, money, health, everything, wife, friends, everything is arranged by the material nature, by Krishna, arrangement. But we think we have the merit to get this thing, or we discover it, or we do the things and we get the result. This illusion is there in order for us to think that we are the master and that we are enjoying here. Because that false ego forces us to see the elements and the universe in this way. It's our desire to see things in and to experiment material enjoyment and suffering as well. So here we have a very final description of all spiritual psychology works. We have some mental psychologists that exist, and they have a gross understanding of things because they have no information about the soul, about transmigration, and about the gunas. But the Vedas, they explain that scrutinizingly, with a lot of details. So, because the Vedic literature is the big dictionary of how to use a human form of life in such a way that you get the ultimate benefit. It is available, but who is ready to purchase? A lot of religious books, a lot of religious systems are here and there, but they promote temporary relief and benefit for those who look those temporary benefits. So all this system of religion exists in order to cater, to feed those who are interested materially and a little spiritually. There is room for everyone. The human form of life is the The target for the spirit, for the human form of life, is one side to enjoy, but the other side, that what interests Krishna, is to develop little by little some interest in some worshipping something superior. You worship the demigod, you worship the universe form, you worship the ghost, you worship higher beings, and ultimately, if you are serious, you will worship the Supreme Personality of God. So, then you will get the supreme, eternal spiritual benefit. So the world of the literature, the Vedic literature, is arranged in such a way to interest people to elevate their consciousness in a way or in another. That's why Shiva exists, that's why ghosts and goblins follow Shiva and Giri, and why there is so much of these worshippers in the world. They accomplish a lot of activity that degrade themselves, but on the other side, on the other hand, if there is a kind of worship of something superior, then they get some benefit from that. Of course, they will have to pay the good and bad karma. Then you cannot avoid to have the result of your good and bad past activities. You will have to pay. Same way you pay for what you consume in a restaurant. The bill will come later on. That you will have to pay the bill, but on the wall, for the meal you get, what you will get for making your consciousness advance in your life. So indirectly, the verse explains how much you advance in promoting your consciousness close to Krishna. This is what will be mainly seen at the end of their life. Be it devotees or non-devotees, you will meet some personalities who will check what is your spiritual advancement. And accordingly, direct you to this kind of service, with this kind of authority. And eventually, if you are really serious, more than just liberation, if you are really serious, you will have a role to play in a pastime of Lord Krishna in some universe. Because the pastime of Lord Krishna are going on. They happened some 5,000 years ago on this earth, in Vrindavan mainly, but also Dwarka and other part of India. And they are still going on in some other universe. They are rotating from one universe to another, infinitely like that. So the serious devotees are promoted in some service to one of these pastimes that you similarly, same way with your mind. You observe yourself in a kind of pastimes that you cherish with Krishna or Nishingadev or Narayan, whatever, and you get promoted where this pastime is happening, where you get more trained, and then eventually you get promoted to the spiritual world. So the whole affair is how to mold our mind in such a way as to be at ease and fitting in a role with Krishna somewhere in the spiritual world. Some service or no, or this service, this pastime or this pastime. So meditation after some time takes a preponderant role. Once your mind has been a little pacified, if you get rid of problems in your room with the president, with the GBC, with this organization, the parents, husband, so many things that takes our attention and energy. When we got rid of those, seeing them as insignificant petit caillou, pebbles, dust, then your mind becomes your friend. Because at the beginning we think our mind is our friend, but it's not. The mind is always lurking about this problem, this gratification, these past activities, this future I will do this. So many diverting objects of meditation. Then the mind is not so, is untamed. So a horse that is untamed is not a friend. You cannot so much rely on it. To make a horse a friend, it takes quite a lot of time and patience. And similarly, to make our friend, our mind a friend, takes quite some time. And after you can have it enjoy like a TV set. Sometimes something like a TV. The pastimes that are described in all the Vedic scriptures, especially at the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the core of the fruit of the Vedic scriptures, then the mind can enjoy it, and the things you go around doesn't look for you so interesting. You don't care. You can do the pots, you can do the garden. You don't aspire for a high position, because you know high position, you will have money, woman, adoration, time for this, time for that. The mind. But generally, the devotees avoid this kind of situation. They prefer to undergo a kind of life not so quite poor, little things to manage, little, when it becomes too big, too much people, too much riches, we can become interested in those things, which are all temporary. So devotees have to manage their life in such a way so that material comfort and interests doesn't grab the attention and the energy of the mind. So like that, devotee will be even more interested than liberation, because very often in the Vedic literature it is given this fruit of the Vedic literature, aspire after liberation. But real Krishna devotee is not even interested in liberation. Of course, on the first glance, we are interested. We don't want to stay in this material world. But ultimately, the ultimate target in our life should be to have a devotional, loving relationship with Krishna and develop love of Godhead through this relationship. This is the real target. Even liberation seems pale or insignificant. There is this prayer. What is this? Who sings this prayer? Maybe Maharaj Kulashekar, I'm not sure. He was praying that I'm not even interested in liberation, where I think she just stands at the door, at the threshold of my door. I'm interested in playing with this little boy with a peacock feather that is running in the courtyard of the house. is interested in playing with Krishna, this devotee. Not in. He knows liberation is not his interest, main interest. So maybe that's a little elevator for us to know. And we stop here because there is different pastimes, different worshippers. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his song about invitation of the dance rasa, he explained that his pen is running and he's describing the gopis, describing Krishna, he's describing the pastime of the rasa dance, and all of a sudden there is no ink, he says. I think that the end of my meditation, and those who are qualified, they will see it by themselves. Otherwise, mundane people, it's not for them yet. So I will close this class also for those who want to go further on. Then they have to go with their mind, because everything is here in the Srimad Bhagavatam to build this door, this opening, to open this door to the pastime of Lord Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.